Some people walk with us for a chapter, not the whole novel. Every friendship isn't forever, but that doesn't mean it wasn't real. Hey y'all, welcome back to 429, where we make space for real talk, safe landings, and everything in between. I am your host, Aliyah Cherie, and today's episode is one that might hit close to home. If you're new here, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. If you're already subscribed to my channel, thank you. Welcome back. We talk a lot about the beauty of friendship, but not nearly enough about the parts that hurt. What do you do when the group chat goes quiet? When someone you once called sister starts to feel like a stranger? There's no big fight, no fallout, no dramatic exit, just silence. Maybe you saw it coming. Maybe you didn't. But either way, that silence, it speaks. In this episode, we're unpacking the quiet kind of heartbreak. Friendship breakups. We'll talk about silent drifts, the discomfort of growing in different directions, and how to make peace with letting go without bitterness. So whether you're grieving, healing, or just reflecting, you're not alone. Let's get into it.
429 with Aliyah Cherie.
So let's talk about why some friendships fade without drama. I personally believe societal expectations, especially on Black women, have a lot to do with this. These expectations can quietly shape and sometimes strain these grown girl friendships in ways we don't always verbalize. Here's some examples of how those pressures tend to show up, especially for Black women navigating adulthood. First is the pressure to be the strong one. Many Black women are socialized to be caretakers, fixers, and emotional anchors. Strong Black woman, but that trope can make it hard to admit when we need support. And it makes vulnerability feel unsafe, which then leads to performative strength. You tell your friends you don't need help or anyone to lean on or talk to, when in reality, you do. And on top of that, you continue to show up for them while fighting your own silent battles. This can often lead to one-sided friendships and or emotional burnout. So consider this. What friendships have allowed you to fall apart and still be loved? Next is conflict avoidance and people-pleasing. Cultural norms often teach women to prioritize harmony and avoid confrontation. Your friend has done something to offend or hurt you, or something that rubbed you the wrong way. You don't say anything because you want to keep the peace. But avoiding hard conversations causes slow disconnection. This can also make it difficult to set boundaries or address hurt feelings. This often leads to resentment bubbling beneath the surface. And let me also say this. You should be able to confront an issue or concern with a friend without getting confrontational. You don't have to raise your voice, name call, throw hands, none of that. And if you're not at that point yet, you have some maturing to do. But back on track. Consider this. Have I mistaken silence for peace? Next is competition over connection. In the workplace especially, systemic inequalities like access to leadership roles or funding can create a sense of scarcity. And that scarcity mindset can pit women against each other, even subconsciously, instead of fostering collaboration and mutual uplift. The same goes for friends working in completely different fields with completely different goals in life. Maybe a friend just received a promotion on their job and you're secretly jealous because you've been praying for one for months. Or when you get together or have a conversation, all you do is try to one-up each other, back and forth about your accomplishments. Comparison kills collaboration. Unspoken jealousy or shame creates distance. So consider this. Have I ever pulled away instead of speaking up about feeling unseen? Next up, life milestones and shifting roles. For women, society often defines adulthood by marriage, motherhood, or career success. When friends hit milestones at different times, it can create emotional distance or feelings of inadequacy, especially if one friend feels behind. I can relate to the slight feelings of inadequacy part. Like I said earlier, society equates adulthood, with whether you're married, with whether you have children, or what your career is like. So people feel like, okay, she's 29, she's beautiful, she's smart, she's this, she's God-fearing. Where her man at? What's wrong with her? Just because you haven't hit certain milestones yet, it doesn't take away from you as a woman or your adulthood. So if you have those feelings, you're not alone. I felt that as well. But like I said, I've learned to just put that aside. I'm blessed and content where I'm at. So, yeah, don't be discouraged. But I'm so thankful that those feelings that I had were more internal, and it never caused distance between me or any of my friends. I am genuinely happy for each of them because I've been on this journey so long with them. I've watched them. I've seen the different things that they've gone through. So to see them accomplish different things and goals that they've set, I'll be there. I'll be celebrating with them. I just love that they are moving. But it doesn't make me any less of a woman. It doesn't make me any less of a person if it's taking me a little longer in certain areas. So yeah, I'm glad I finally came to that conclusion. But anyway, back to what we're talking about today. Sometimes changes in pace or lifestyle can breed shame or distance. Consider this. Can we hold different timelines without assuming failure or distance? Next up, emotional labor and relational intensity. Friendships between women are often expected to be deeply nurturing and emotionally intense. While this is a beautiful thing, this can also become draining if the reciprocity isn't there, or if one person becomes the therapist friend. When one becomes the therapist, resentment can grow, because while they're taking time out to hear everyone else's problems and help solve their dilemmas, who's doing that for them? So consider this. Who's caring for the caretaker? In other words, check on your strong friend or your therapist friend. Next is identity and intersectionality. As Black women, we often navigate layered expectations around race, gender, and class. Friendships can be a refuge for us, but they can also be challenged by differing values, political views, especially in this day and time, or healing journeys that shift how people relate. Speaking of healing journeys, they may lead to necessary distance, especially if you're healing from some sort of abuse, betrayal, family issues, etc. But consider this. Can I love someone and still let go of who we were together? Now, don't get me wrong. These dynamics don't mean grown girl friendships are doomed. They just need more intentionality. When we begin to name these pressures, we can start to unlearn them and build friendships rooted in honesty, grace, and mutual growth. Now we're going to talk a little bit about grieving someone that is still alive. This kind of grief is often called ambiguous loss. It happens when someone you love is still physically present, but emotionally, spiritually, and relationally, they're gone. You might still see their posts on Instagram, Facebook, and social media. You may bump into them at different events, and you may even exchange polite texts. But the intimacy, the depth, it's ended. This type of grieving hurts for a few reasons. First, there was no closure. There's no goodbye, no breakup talk, no funeral, just silence. The lack of finality can leave you emotionally suspended. It also hurts so much because it's disenfranchised grief. Society doesn't always validate this kind of mourning. People might say, she's still around. You can just talk to her, just reach out, go see her, which can make you feel like your pain isn't real or valid. And the final reason why this hurts so much is because you have the memory versus reality. You're grieving not just the person, but the version of them that made you feel safe, seen, and loved. That version may no longer exist in your life. And coming to terms with and reconciling that can feel like losing a part of yourself. This is how ambiguous loss shows up in friendships. You scroll past their name or post on social media and feel a pang. You hear a song or remember an inside joke, and you feel both warmth and hurt. You also wonder if you should reach out, but also wonder if they'd even respond in the same way. Here are some ways to process this grief. First things first, you gotta name it. Say it out loud or write it down in your journal. I'm grieving someone who's still alive. The next thing you wanna do is honor the good. Reflect on what the friendship gave you and how it shaped you. Next, release with grace. You don't need a dramatic exit to let go. Sometimes soft boundaries are the most loving ones. Create rituals. You can write a letter that you never send or revisit old photos with intention, not to reopen wounds, but to honor the chapter. Those are ways that you can accept emotional distance without resentment. Now let's talk about when a friend is no longer your safe space. How do you recognize when a friend no longer feels aligned, supportive, or trustworthy? For Black women especially, friendships often carry deep emotional, cultural, and spiritual significance. So when something feels off, it's not just about vibes. It's about safety, identity, and reciprocity. Here are some signs that your friendship may no longer be aligned. Number one, you feel drained, or as I like to say, you're not being fed anymore. For example, after conversations with this person, you feel emotionally exhausted or anxious. Another example, you're always the one checking in, supporting, and listening, but you're rarely on the receiving end of that. Another sign that your friendship may no longer be aligned is when you're around this person or talking to this person, you censor yourself to avoid conflict or judgment. Or you feel like you can't be your full, authentic self around this person, especially around topics like race or healing or ambition. Third, the support feels conditional, meaning they celebrate you only when it doesn't outshine them. Or when you win or you share your wins, they're met with silence, shade, or subtle competition. Fourth, while you're growing, they're resisting. So you're evolving in your life. You're setting boundaries. You're going to therapy. You're taking your mental health seriously. You're going to church. You're getting your relationship with Christ. You're getting on the right path with Him. And as you're doing this, they're either mocking you or minimizing your growth. Another example, you feel guilty for growing. You feel guilty for changing, even when it's for your well-being. The fifth and final sign that your friendship may no longer be in alignment is the trust has been violated. For example, you no longer feel safe being vulnerable with them. One thing I cannot stand in friendships is if I tell you something in confidence, and then what I told you in confidence gets back to me. And I know you said something because you're the only person I said something to. That is a quick way for trust to be violated. Because why are you speaking on me to somebody else? Especially if I told you, hey, I need you to keep this between us. I think it was some reality show. I think it was Tiny Harris. And she said, well, if you don't want me to tell something, you got to tell me when you're telling me that. Don't tell somebody. It was either her or Shekinah that said that. But I'm the type of friend, if I'm coming to you about something, I shouldn't have to tell you, hey, don't tell nobody. Hey, don't say nothing. Especially if it's a sensitive topic or you're my friend in general. Don't be running off to your other friend groups or nothing, telling people my business. So if you heard these different signs that I just gave and you like, oh, I don't know, Lee, I'm gonna have to let this friendship go. Before you act too soon, here are some reflective questions to ask yourself. Do I feel seen and safe in this friendship? Am I showing up for this person out of love or out of obligation? Finally, a very important one. Is this connection rooted in who I was or who I'm becoming? Now, I know I've said a mouthful up to this point, but after digesting, and if you realize that you have a friendship or friendships that you need to let go, if you feel like you need to release this person, here's how to release with love. First, you want to name the shift. You don't have to confront this person or these people immediately, but acknowledging the change to yourself first is very powerful. Start by recognizing the change within yourself. You might journal or reflect on what feels misaligned, what you tried to repair with this person or these people, and what you need in your friendships moving forward. Doing this helps you approach the conversation with intention, not impulse. Next, you want to choose direct but gentle communication. So as I said earlier, this does not need to be dramatic. So you don't need a dramatic breakup speech. A simple, heartfelt message can honor the bond while creating space. So for example, you can say something like this. I've been reflecting on how I'm growing and what I need in my relationships. I value what we've shared, but I feel like we're in different places now. I'm choosing to step back with love and respect. Simple. You can say this in person, over the phone, or in a thoughtfully written note. The only thing I would suggest is that if this was a very deep friendship, long-term friendship, You don't want to send that type of message through a text, because to that person, even though you're walking away from the friendship, if you deliver that type of message in a text, it can feel to that person very dismissive. And bonus, if you don't like conflict, you can still be honest without confrontation. You can try sending a voice note. That way they hear the tone of your voice. You can still offer warmth in your voice and also clarity. Or you can also, again, try sending them a handwritten card, one that celebrates the friendship while gently stepping away. Another thing to keep in mind if you're breaking up with your friend, let go of the need to explain everything. Let it go. You don't owe a full explanation or a full emotional autopsy. Share what feels true, but don't feel pressured to justify every detail. The goal is clarity, not closure that requires mutual agreement. You want to honor your intuition. If something feels off, it probably is. You don't need proof to protect your peace. You also want to offer grace. Let the person know that you're not angry. Let them know you're not blaming them for anything. Let them know that you're simply honoring your growth. This will help prevent defensiveness, and it leaves the door open for peace, even if you never reconnect. Finally, you want to decide or make this decision with grace. As I stated earlier, not every misalignment requires a dramatic exit. Sometimes the soft boundaries or distance, that's enough. Don't look at the friendship breakup as an actual breakup. Look at it as an evolution, not a failure. Letting go doesn't have to be loud either. It can be soft, sacred, and full of love. So I think this is the perfect time to share that I'm bringing a new segment to the show called Listener Letters. This is the part of the show where my listeners get to participate. So if this topic or any other topic covered on this podcast resonates with you, you can email me your stories or your voice notes, and I'll share that email address below in the description box. This will be done every episode moving forward. And just so you know, the letters and voice notes will remain anonymous. For this episode, I'm encouraging you to send me a letter via email reflecting on a friendship or friendships that faded, and I'll guide reflection or offer affirmations in response. If this episode stirred up some feelings, let them rise. It's okay to grieve a friendship that quietly slipped through your fingers. It doesn't make you bitter. It makes you human. If this is something you're currently going through, healing from a friendship that no longer feels like home, I see you. You're not cold for needing space. You're not wrong for growing. And you're not alone in that hurt. Remember, some people walk with us for a chapter, not the whole novel. And if nothing else, I hope you walk away knowing this. Every friendship isn't forever, but that doesn't mean it wasn't real. It's about giving ourselves and our sisters grace through evolving seasons. Release is not rejection. It's respect for your path and theirs. Until next time, thanks so much for watching. I am Aliyah Cherie. Until next time, take care of yourselves and take care of each other. Bye.